Now, talking about justice for Deborah, I'm going to play Atiku's defense, and I am doing this because I had done a critique on Atiku and his involvement, how he had to put down his post condemning the killing of Deborah. So he was reached and he put up a defense. And for me, let's just hear what Atiku has to say. I'll come back and share my opinion. Maybe it's a continuation of the critique. I don't know, but you get to see this video and see if this is acceptable.
Every tweet has to get my approval. Unfortunately, this tweet, because I was traveling all over the country, did not have my approval. So I said it should be taken out. And that every tweet must have my express approval. I am not a person who is afraid to take stand on issues.
So, you saw the video now. The question is that tenable? You can drop your comments on the comment section and tell me if you think Atiku's defense on why he had to put down the post is acceptable. Well, this is my opinion. You know that I don't stay neutral. Now, it's going to be my tradition here not to stay on the fence. My job here is to give my opinion, my perspective based on, putting pieces together, working with the facts that are before me. So I'm not going to be staying on the fence. That is the method I will be going by here on this show. Now, for me, it is not acceptable. Atiku's defense is not acceptable. The question is, fine. You say that you have to approve every post. And again, I want to believe that Atiku has his, managers, social media managers. I don't want to believe that Atiku will have the time to check every post before it is put up. But even if that is the case, especially for a sensitive matter as that of the killing of Deborah, okay, I can understand. Okay, fine. You probably may want to get to see the post and before you let it fly, before you let it go out. I get that. But the question is that Atiku is saying that the reason he had to put down the post was because he didn't give approval. I'm wondering what was so bad or what was so unbecoming with that post that you had to put it down. When you say you didn't give your approval, like, how do you mean? Okay, so the question is, did the post align with the spirit of the time? Did the post align with the spirit of the event? It is okay, fine. Maybe you didn't give approval and you get to see the post. Okay, fine. Well, at the end of the day, this is still useful. Probably want to give a warning or give a sanction, going forward. But to have to pull it down because you didn't get your sanction, like, I don't get it. If you brought down the post because you didn't give approval, so the question is, what post did you now give approval? So are you saying that Atiku Abubakar, presidential aspirants vying to claim the ticket of the PDP, did not make a comment, an official statement concerning this Deborah Samuels incident? Is that what you're saying, that Atiku Abubakar has nothing to say? So now that you didn't give approval, so what is Atiku Abubakar's official statement concerning this situation? What is Atiku Abubakar's position on this matter? What post did you give approval for? What are you saying? Now that you have put on that post because they didn't get your approval, now which one have you given approval for? These are the questions. I think with all due respect to Atiku Abubakar, that defense is very lame. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable at all. I wonder why the journalists did not get to ask all of these questions. I wonder why they didn't put into further questioning. With all due respect to Atiku. Again, like I said in my previous video that you can get to watch in the comment section, the link is there, you can watch it. I had said, hey, it would have been better that they didn't speak up. It would have been better that he didn't get to say anything. It would have made more sense. But for you to pull down that post, which obviously one can, tie to the fact that, many potential voters from the north threatening that they will not vote for you and they probably give you some trouble during the campaigns, but I can tie the pulling down to that. I can say that is the reason you brought down the post. I can say that, assuming that he actually didn't give approval. But Atiku of all people should know that the backlash and the aftermath of him bringing that post will be worse than the fact that he didn't give approval for the post. Come on, it's just an approval anyways. Did the post serve the event? It did. But to now bring down the post and you didn't put up another one to replace it, stating your mind, stating your position on the matter, then that gives a lot of room for suspicion. For me, this defense is not acceptable. For me, this defense further even complicates the whole issue for Atiku. And I think, well, as much as Atiku is bothered about the vote that he may lose in the north, he also forgets that he has a strong support base in the south that is also very threatened with this situation. I think Atiku bothering about votes in the north, showed a lot of disrespect to the voters in the south. Again, if you want to look at it, not everybody in the north supports these outrageous, and sinful acts that have been done, against Deborah. Not everybody in the north, but you can be rest assured that a large percentage of the south is not comfortable with this. So the question is, how do you balance all of this? How did Atiku come to the point of having to bother for vote, even though he claims that it was not about votes, it was not about that? But the question is, from what we can see before us, if we must think, we have minds to think, you cannot tell us that, it was just about approval. So the question is, what is Atiku Abubakar saying now that you've put down that post because of approval? What are you saying now? I would say again, Nigerian voters should not forget this. We should not forget this. We should take note of this. It should count in the elections. I think it should count. I think leaders must be held accountable, especially for people who are vying to occupy the Oval Office, the office of the president. We can't have leaders who can't do the needful, who do not have the courage to make decisions that must be made because of one sentiment or the other. We've wallowed too much in the ocean of sentiments. This is the time to be moving forward. We need leaders who are courageous, who have the capacity and the will to do the needful. And in that, I thought Atiku, this defense is not acceptable at all, with all due respect to him. Now, talking about justice for Deborah, now this is the issue we'll be looking at in the aftermath of the killing. Did Deborah truly commit blasphemy? The question is, who determines what is blasphemy and what is not blasphemy? And what is the rule, whether penal code or the Quran, what does the rule state? If blasphemy probably had been committed, so what happens? Does a people or a person have the right to pass capital punishment to the point of killing, lynching another person on the accusation of blasphemy? These are many questions that we need to ask. Is blasphemy a crime in Nigeria? Is it recognized by law in Nigeria? Can we say somebody can be charged to court, on the accusation of blasphemy? Does the Constitution recognize that as a crime? Are there constitutional provisions that backs, the crime of blasphemy? Especially when you have Section 10 and Section 38 or thereabout that guarantees freedom of religion. In fact, it further states that the presidency or the federal government cannot even make any particular religion a state religion. So this is the position of the Constitution, the ground law. So the question is, how did a group of people get to the point where they become so emboldened to want to take the life of another person on the account of blasphemy, on the accusation of blasphemy? This is the conversation we must have in this country. These are the issues we must look at. Now, I'll show you a video courtesy TVC on the Your View show where this was looked at. Now, she's a Muslim and this is what she had to say. Just watch and listen, and I'll get back.
This same religion, you go across the border to all the places where their elites go and they think it's a different faith. So why is it animalistic here?
As in,
even if blasphemy was a crime under the penal code as it is, it has to go through the system. So you give the person the chance to say something, but a mob action, I just hate to relive that video because I lost sleep over the night. I can only imagine the parents of that girl.
I can't even imagine.
Having heritage linked to Sokoto, but then seeing how Sokoto failed their daughter based on religion. In Islam, since we're talking about religion here, if you take a life unjustly, it is a Quranic verse that you have taken, it's like you have destroyed the whole of mankind.
But they believe it's justly.
Yes.
Yeah, they believe it's justly.
No, they are not justice. Even in Islam. Even in Islam, they are not the justice system. if a brother, your own blood brother, was killed, you have to face a court to even access. I'm trying to remember what it's called. The money, blood money. Yes, he said that a life for a life, but if you're willing, accept the compensation of blood money in case that life was taken accidentally. And even then, it is better for you if you leave that. That's the Quranic arrangement of it. They are not justice system, but this mentality, this animalistic, I will do it and nothing will happen. And it's because we've seen these tweets. The people who promote it in the past get appointed.
Oh, yes.
The people who promote it in the past are sitting in government. Nothing will happen.
So did Deborah commit blasphemy? And is that known to law? Is blasphemy known to Nigerian laws? I particularly am very impressed with Sheikh Ahmed Gumi's position. Gumi is one religious leader that I have always respected. You know, I've always, even on the Jonathan, he's been speaking, and on the Buhari, he's been speaking, and he's been, to a large extent, he's one of those religious leaders who's never been afraid to speak their mind. Gumi has been receiving punches, especially because he's been more like a spokesman for the bandits, and he's even called for amnesty for them, and had even gone into their hideouts to reach out, to try to profile some kind of solution and all of that, which has not gone down well with some members of the public, especially in the South. So some persons have not been very comfortable with all that role that is played, and having to call for amnesty. So he's received some punches and all of that. But we're going to look at the much that Gumi said. I think he made some very salient points. Courtesy TVC News. Let's get to hear what Gumi said. Let's get to hear.
Islamic cleric Ahmad Gumi has condemned the killing of Deborah Emmanuel, saying the Holy Prophet didn't kill those who insulted him during his lifetime. And speaking during a religious teaching class in Kaduna, the Islamic cleric said the Prophet didn't avenge the insults targeted at him by non-Muslims because he didn't want to be tagged as a killer. He added that no religious law can be applied in Nigeria since the country is a secular state.
Now you heard it. That is very commendable. That is very apt. I'm very impressed with the position of Gumi. Now, I'm particularly even much interested in the last line where he said Nigeria is a secular state. Let me play that again so that you listen. Some of you must have read this in the papers, so you know the much that he had said.
He added that no religious law can be applied in Nigeria since the country is a secular state.
Now you heard it. No religious laws can be applied in Nigeria, especially because the country is a secular state. Now, Gumi is a respected, Muslim cleric. I've had to also listen to a couple of other, Muslim clerics and, top Muslim figures and the scholars, and they have also said, well, there are varying interpretations of all of that. But the fact of the matter is that Nigeria is a secular state, like Gumi said. So where is the place for applying religious laws? Gumi's position is very clear. So these are the issues in Nigeria that we really need to sit down and look at. I guess when people begin to call for restructuring and all of that conversation, this is one of the issues that usually results to all of that agitation. Nigeria is a secular state, so where is the place for you having to apply religious laws and say somebody has blasphemed against your religion and all of that? And as though that is not bad enough, somebody now takes the law into his or her hand and kill somebody, and incite a mob action and get somebody lynched. The position of Gumi in this Deborah Samuel's situation is the typical Gumi. This is what we used to know Gumi for. Always speaking out, always coming out, and I commend him for this. I commend him, and I think what Gumi has said is very apt, is very, very commendable. It is the way to go. Nigeria, like he said, it is a secular state. Why is it difficult for a lot of people to come to terms with that reality? Nigeria is a secular state. You can't afford to subject a Nigerian to some kind of religious laws. You can't accuse someone of blasphemy in a secular state. It just doesn't make sense. If we're going to go by that, then if we all begin to draw our red lines, I'm a Christian, the other person probably is a Buddhist, the other one is a Muslim, the other one is, and all of that. So, if we all begin to draw red lines on what to cross and what not to cross, what kind of society is that going to be? Moses often say, Jesus is not the son of God, he is a prophet, you're just a prophet. You don't think that is blasphemous if we were to go by blasphemy? You don't think that is blasphemous if we were to go by this whole, charade of blasphemy? Even in the South here, in worship and in songs, there tend to be some level of disparaging of other, people's faith and belief, Jesus power, super power, Adelakun power, powerless power, Mami water power, powerless power, Ogoni power, powerless power, Shango power, powerless power. We do all of that in the South, and so the question is, no Shango worshiper or Ogoni worshiper or whatever, has come out to kill anybody or cry for, or sue for blasphemy and all of that. If we were to go by blasphemy and all of those red lines that people are calling for now, if you tell me Jesus is this, Jesus is that, and you have to blaspheme his name, if you think the God of my faith, you have to blaspheme his name, I don't have a responsibility to defend him. He didn't give me that responsibility, actually. A lot of persons have said things about the Christian faith, even Muslims who occupy elective offices, public offices, they've said things. Especially recently, we even have a sitting governor who's made derogatory statements about the Christian faith. He's a governor today. We have, people who are ministers who have made derogatory statements that they will consider blasphemy. But you don't think you should respect other people's, faith, but at the slightest provocation, you want to take people's life, and you cite blasphemy. Are we truly fair? Are we truly fair? Is that the way to go for a country that is secular? Who determines what is blasphemy? What are the rules? What is the position of the Constitution? These are issues that we cannot shy away from. This is a conversation that we must have. And this senseless behavior, this animalistic behavior must have to stop. I think Nigerians must rise up and demand for the true tenets of democracy to prevail in our country. This is a democracy where the rule of law prevails. We have a constitution that's going on. So a section of the country or a group of people cannot sit, and without due respect to, our northern brothers, this is not about the north. It's just a few people who wants to use religion to further their agenda. That's what is happening. This is not about Islam. People just want to give Islam a bad name, and they're using that religion to perpetrate evil, to try to dominate other people. That is what is happening here, and we must call it what it is. Who determines what is blasphemy? Is it known to Nigerian laws? These are the issues. We must have this conversation as a country, and we cannot allow this to continue because this country can't sustain this. We're looking at the unity, the peaceful coexistence is at stake here. This is where Abinbola Adelakun's article on Punch newspaper, published on the 19th of May, becomes very, very relevant. I think you should go look for that article. I saw it on Punch newspaper, and I'm going to be sharing. I think she said a whole lot that as a country that we must look at. Now, the article is titled "Arresting Deborah's Killers is the Easy Part." You should go look for that article. Probably search for it online on your mobile devices, and you'll find it on Punch newspaper, published on the 19th of May. Abinbola Adelakun. From beginning to end, that article has a whole lot that as a country that we must look at. Look at this. It says in one of the paragraphs, look, when a society is bracketed on all sides by a professor who thinks someone deserves death over a comment, religious leaders who openly advocate murder over supposed blasphemy, a political system that tolerates Sharia courts handing out life sentences or capital punishment for crime or blasphemy, police IGs that run the errands of men who claim offense on God's behalf, and judges that help them hand over extended sentences, and worst of all, by moral cowards seeking leadership like Atiku Abubakar, who renounced his opinion on Deborah's murder after his political constituents in the north threatened not to vote for him. Then you see why the Nigerian night is a long one. Seriously, arresting Deborah's killers is the easy part of the task ahead. Now, there's another paragraph that I want to read. Now, it says, what Nigeria needs are people who believe in the country well enough to fight for its redemption. We need a leadership class that believes in protecting the principles of democratic freedom with the same passion those religious fundamentalists exercise when they kill Deborah. They need to stand up to these fanatics and remind them that Nigeria's democracy guarantees us freedom. Freedom is worthless if we cannot use it. Freedom is not freedom if someone does not test its limits. We went further to say, we cannot be spending billions of naira on elections every 4 years whilst some of the most fundamental principles of democracy get flagrantly broken by people who want the world to revolve around the orbits of their narrow minds. Very apt. Very apt. Very apt. Abinbola Adelakun's position is very, very apt. I am very convinced that, that is the way to look at this matter. I am very impressed with that write-up. And I think you should go look for it. Search online, you'll find it. Arresting Deborah's killers is the easy part. I am very impressed with the perspective that she has brought into this. And I think as a country, we cannot afford to let ourselves to be cowed, to be bamboozled by a group of people who feel that the best way they can further their agenda and promote the agenda and impose their will on the entire nation is by weaponizing religion and threatening violence. No, it's not acceptable. We can't accept that as a people. We should not accept that. Everybody is threatened here. And this is a very serious matter that we must look at as Nigerians, because everybody is threatened. Everybody is threatened. These people are desperate. They will go at any length to ensure that they impose themselves and impose their agenda and their will on the entire nation, even when there's a constitution that states otherwise. This is a democracy where the rule of law prevails, and it should be like that. If people want to continue to stand on blasphemy, then they should, encourage their representatives in the Assembly, Senate, and the House of Reps to champion the cause. Let us have a law that says that blasphemy is a crime. And then we can begin to, have another conversation. But to say that a group of people can just sit down and begin to cite religious laws and, religious provisions and apply that on the entire nation, because people live within your domain, and that is wrong, because that Nigeria is for all of us. It is a diverse nation, and we have people of different ethnicity scattered around, living, in the various parts of the nation. So nobody should try to take advantage of the fact that, this is your domain, then you can, take advantage of people to the point where their lives become even threatened. So the question is, will Deborah Samuel get justice? And you know what? You have a role to play. I have a role to play. The authorities have a role to play. And we must continue to have this conversation. We must continue to keep this conversation in the front burner. We must not allow it to get extinguished. We must not allow it to disappear from the public domain. Deborah should get justice. And please, guys, subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos. It will do a lot to help this video to have a far reach, so that people can, get to hear these things and get to join the conversation. It's a conversation, you can drop your comments, tell me what you think, share your opinion. Probably you have a contrary opinion. Come on, share it. This is, an open conversation. Like I said, this is basically everything I say here is my perspective, me putting pieces together, putting facts together, insinuations and, my opinion. So you can equally put your opinion, put your comments out there, whether in support or against. Let's have a robust conversation. Let's discuss. Let's talk. You can get to see my other videos in the description section. You will see the links, and especially the related videos. You can get to see all of those videos in the description section. You just click on the link and you get to see all of those videos. Please, I need you to subscribe to my channel. All you have to do is to press the subscribe button and the like my videos, and please share on your social media platform. I really would appreciate that. I'll see you on the next one, God willing. My Nigeria people, una do well.